What's happening, my Jack family? Coach Scott here, jackedafter40.com. Today I'm going to be sharing 4 training strategies that men over 40 can incorporate into your workouts to safely train beyond failure, challenging your muscles in a way that forces them to improve. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. Want to see more videos like this? Be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the alert button so you're notified each time I upload a video. Now, in a previous video that I recently recorded, I shared one simple trick that you can incorporate into your training, allowing men over 40 to safely train to failure. And in that video, I talked a lot about why us men over 40 have to be a lot smarter when it comes to training to failure. We can't just train to failure with every set and force out reps, really grinding out those last reps. Those kind of reps can really beat us down and really hinder our recovery. So we gotta be a lot smarter when it comes to training to failure. Same applies to training beyond failure. And that's why it's important that you don't overuse these training strategies to train beyond failure. What you're gonna wanna do is select just one exercise per muscle group per monthly training plan. You're also going to want to select just one of these training strategies to use in that monthly training plan. Biggest mistake I see with a lot of workout plans for men over 40 is they try to get too fancy and too creative, and they incorporate a whole bunch of these advanced training tactics in their monthly training plans. And I gotta admit, I fell victim to this years ago as well. It is fun, but it's also overkill. You're better off just spreading them out, really mastering the movements, enhancing that mind-muscle connection, and really being selective with when you train to failure and when you train beyond failure, utilizing these advanced training tactics. So now let's move on to the first training strategy to train beyond failure for men over 40, and that is extended rest pause sets. We're going to use the leg press as an example here, performing 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps. First 2 sets, you're going to leave a rep or 2 in the tank. As always, last set, best set here. So on the 3rd set, you're going to challenge yourself. You're going to get to that point of momentary muscular failure where you complete your last rep with good form, knowing that if you try to do one more repetition, it would start to get a little bit sloppy. You don't want to perform a sloppy rep here. You want to get to that point where it's still a good quality rep on your last rep, and you're going to rack the weight, but you're only going to rest for 5 seconds and then perform as many more reps as you can. Rack the weight, rest for 5 seconds, perform as many more reps as you can, and you're going to keep going until you can only perform a single repetition with good quality form here. Now, this may mean that after your 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps, you're able to perform 4, 5, maybe even 8 sets where you're only resting for 5 seconds, where you get to that 8th set, and that's the point where you hit 1 rep and you know that if you attempted another rep, it'd get really sloppy and ugly. So even though you are resting for 5 seconds and you're pushing, you're digging deep here. This is definitely taking those muscles beyond failure here. You're not grinding out any one of these extended sets here. So none of your sets are grinding out and none of these extended sets are grinding out. It's a safe way to take that muscle beyond failure without forcing any reps, without getting sloppy with any of these reps. You can use this for a lot of different exercises. I really prefer kind of machine movements. I find they're a bit safer when it comes to this. You don't want to be bench pressing and kind of that little fear and doubt comes in your head, worrying if you can get that last rep up there. It's also tougher with exercises where if you're starting down in the hole with a chest exercise and you're only resting 5 seconds, that first rep is going to be a real struggle and take a lot out of you. So machine work is fantastic for this, whether it's a leg press, a machine chest press, seated row, something along that lines is great. It's also great for a lot of the isolation exercises, whether it's lateral raises, bicep curls, tricep press downs. It's fantastic. So again, you would just be picking one exercise per muscle group per monthly training plan to use this strategy with. Now let's get to the next training strategy. The second strategy to train beyond failure for men over 40 is performing partial reps. We're going to use the lateral raise as an example here, performing 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps. Now in the 3rd set, when you reach momentary muscular failure, where you know if you try to perform one more rep in the full range of motion, it's going to get sloppy and ugly. This is where you're going to shorten the range of motion and just perform partial reps. By shortening the range of motion, you're able to keep the tension on the delts rather than trying to get that full range of motion and using momentum and a lot of supporting muscles to thrust it up there. It's when you start really getting a little bit sloppy like that you're running the risk of injury. But if you shorten that range of motion, keeping the tension on the delts, it's a very safe, effective way to train beyond failure in the target rep range. You're still putting a lot of tension on those delts by keeping that range a little bit shorter and a little bit shorter, and it's fun. It's just, you're burning it completely out. Now, you're already fatigued in the top range, now you're fatiguing the muscle all the way down through the lower range of motion. It's a fun strategy that is safe to train beyond failure. The third strategy to safely train beyond failure for men over 40 is to perform a mechanical advantage superset. In this video example, you'll see me performing an incline dumbbell squeeze press supersetted with a incline dumbbell bench press. So aiming to, I think here I was aiming to form 8 to 12 repetitions for the incline dumbbell squeeze press. As soon as I hit that rep where I felt like if I performed one more repetition and the rep would get a little bit sloppy, I'd be grinding it out. At that point, I immediately bust into an incline dumbbell bench press. The reason being is that the second exercise, you're at a more mechanical advantage compared to the first exercise. So you're gonna be stronger. You can lift more weight with an incline dumbbell bench press compared to an incline dumbbell squeeze press. So once you fatigue with that exercise where you're mechanically weaker, you can continue working those pecs by performing a very similar exercise where you're mechanically stronger. Another great example of this would be a cable fly, where as soon as you burn out on the flies, you can continue to perform a cable press. So similar movements like that. You can also do something like if you're doing hammer curls, as soon as you burn out, if you start doing alternating arm hammer curls, you're going to be able to extend that set. So that's kind of a mechanical advantage superset there, where you're combining mechanical weaker movements to kick things off paired with mechanical stronger movements in a superset. And now for the fourth and final strategy to safely train beyond failure for men over 40. And this one is more of a common one that you'll see in workout plans for men over 40. And that is performing a triple drop set. We're gonna use the tricep press down as an example here, performing 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps. And once again, on the third set, once you reach that point where you think if you tried to perform one more repetition, it would get a little bit sloppy. At that point, you're gonna stop the exercise, reduce the weight, and perform as many more reps as you can. Reduce the weight a second time, perform as many more reps as you can. Reduce the weight a third time and perform as many more reps as you can, and that will end the triple drop set. I dropped the weight 2 plates at a time here, and what that allowed me to kind of hit was after those 3 sets of 12 to 15 repetitions, each of those drops, I think I got around 8 repetitions. So there's no right or wrong of how much you want to drop it. If you want to perform fewer reps with each drop, you would just drop 1 plate instead of 2. If you wanted to perform higher repetitions for each drop, you would drop 3 plates instead of 2. It's all, I mean, it's all gonna work. It's all effective strategies to train beyond failure and have some fun in your workouts. So one important note I want you to make is that, or be aware of, is that for the triple drop sets, for the extended rest pause sets, and for the partial reps, you only want to be doing those training strategies on the third set. If you were to do that the first 2 sets, you would just be completely wasted, completely fatigued. You'd have to be reducing the weight each set. The idea is to finish that exercise, to finish the third set and be spent. So in a lot of cases, I will save this for the last movement of a body part. So if I'm hitting 3 exercises for chest today, I would perform the third exercise would be one of these strategies within that workout. The only difference would be the mechanical advantage superset. That is something that can be performed for all 3 sets. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it, and it'd really help this channel out. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the alert button so you're notified each time I upload a video. If you have tried any of these training strategies to train beyond failure for men over 40, I'd love to hear from you down in the comment section below. Let me know what your favorites are. If you learned anything from today's video, either way, let's share this journey together, supporting each other every step of the way. And before you go, don't forget to download your free guide, Jacked After 40. I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. I'll catch you in the next video.